Hi, I'm David Dezina, publisher at Pflaum, and this video is an overview for parents who are teaching the Pflaum Gospel Weeklies at home due to the current situation where classes are canceled for the time being. Please don't worry, our lessons are easy to use, and I'm hoping this video will give you a quick overview of how everything works. If you had a chance to receive the printed lessons to use at home, I'll first go over those. And then if you received from your parish a link to view the lessons online or receive the PDFs, I will show you how that looks online as well and some of the features of the website. So I'm going to use the lessons for March 22nd as an example. And this is Seeds, which is usually used for preschool. Promise, which is for K in grade 1. Good News for grades 2 and 3. Venture for grades 4, 5, and 6. And Visions for 7, 8, and 9. And you may be given different grade levels, different levels for the grade levels that your children are in. Sometimes parishes do alternate the use of a level. For example, Seeds could be used for kindergarten as well. The teaching guides, if you've received those, most of you probably haven't, but we have them online, and I will show you how to do that. Again, there's one for the whole unit. So for all 8 lessons from March 15th through May 10th, and each level has its own teaching guide. And while in most cases you will not be using what the church believes and teaches during your home lessons, if you have these at home, these are the doctrinal handbooks for each level. Obviously, you can use them, but I'm going to show you how to use the lesson without these because in most cases they're left in the classroom. If they weren't sent home, then you obviously won't have that at home to use. So we will use the Good News level as an example. So again, for March 22nd. And each lesson essentially is a 3-part lesson. Share experiences, discover gospel and doctrine, and live the gospel. In the student lesson, you won't see those 3 steps, but that's essentially how the program works. So using this lesson as an example, step 1 would be the opening activity here, and then the page 2 story, and the no questions. Step 2 would be reading the gospel, and then the no questions, which are really like discussion questions. And then also on page 4 here, the gospel, connecting gospel and doctrine. All of that is part 2, the discover gospel and doctrine step. And then step 3 is live the gospel, which are the activities that start here and go on to page 4. So that's pretty much how every lesson works on each level. If you are looking at, if you have the teaching guide, and this is the same if you're viewing it online, and I will repeat this again when I go over the online version of this, but you would just turn to the pages, page 8 through 11, for your guide, in your guide. And again, every level has the same format. And so you look here on March 22nd, and as a parent teaching at home, a quick way to kind of get a sense of what you're going to do, just look at the 60-minute lesson here. And you can read some background for yourself just to get an idea of what the lesson's going to be about. And then just do the things that you know you have at home. You don't have the music CDs, so you can skip over that part, but there is an opening prayer in the guide. You can do the opening activity, it says here, the story that I showed you just a few minutes ago, and then discuss the no questions. And that's your first step. In step 2, you would read the gospel, discuss the no questions, excuse me, and the activity, and then the connecting gospel and doctrine. And then step 3, you would finish with the activity and a closing prayer. So you can skip over the rest of it. Most of that is for teachers or catechists for teaching in a classroom setting. Then on the next spread, the next 2 pages, really all you need to know to teach the lesson. You just have to do the gathering prayer. You can do the cover activity. That page 1 activity tells you what to do, and if there's answers needed, the answers are provided. The story, which is on page 2, and it tells you that here. Discuss to no questions, and then completion of that activity for step 1. Step 2, the gospel, the questions again, the activity, and then it says about connecting gospel and doctrine. And you have a little bit here mentioned, which is this part. And then you'll see a reference to that, what the church believes and teaches doctrinal handbook here. If you have that, you can turn to the page and go there. If you don't, but you have the teaching guide here, the information here is a good summary of the doctrine that you would find in the handbook if you had it. So you could read this with your child, and that would be sufficient. After that, for step 3, to live the gospel, you go back and do the activities. And then there's a closing prayer right here. Now, I showed you that 60-minute lesson, the lesson plan. I don't know or think that it would probably take you that long at home when you're doing this one-on-one. But it does give you a sense of what to do. And again, if you have any questions, please just email me at editor@pflaum.com. If you have access, you were given access by your parish or school to go to the website, I'm going to show you that now. If you go to gospelweeklies.com or pflaumweeklies.com, like you see up here, you'll go to this page. And if you click on this button here, you have all of the lessons available both in English and Spanish, as well as the teaching guides. But first you would have to log on, and your parish or school will give you that information. It will give you a password that you can use. You enter your email and the password, and you will get to this page and you can view the lessons. So again, in this case, I would select Good News and then select March 22nd. I have it open already here, so I can show you that. But you click on that button, the lesson would appear. All 4 pages, or for Venture and Visions, all 8 pages. You can print the lesson, you can download the lesson, or just view it on screen. The same for the teaching guide. This is reduced a little small here, but you can make it as large as you want. And you would go to March 22nd, and then you would view the lesson as I showed you here, and you can just scroll through the pages. So again, you go onto the main page and you select the level, you click on it, and it would open up in a box. The teaching guide is available here. Again, each level would look the same. We also provided a zip file so you can download all 8 lessons at one time in one file if you don't want to download them all individually. Some other resources to help you if you need the extra help or want the extra help. If you go to the same website and go up to the top, hit the browse button, you can scroll and select resources for families, or in Spanish, you can select the same here. And this is something that parents, you can access any time of the year. If you're using this program on a regular basis, this page is available for you without passwords all through the year. So there's a handout that gives you an overview of the program. This take-home page that many of you, I'm sure, have used, the Gospel at Home, that gives you a snapshot of what's taught in class. Weekly videos that have video links as well as a webinar on each lesson, and I'll go back to that in a second. The weekly review template. So sometimes a parish or school requires families to fill out and complete the assessment at home. This is a written assessment. This is different than the testing program, which I will also show you. Home instruction, pacing plans. I'll get back to that in 1 second. The online assessments, if you're asked to take the assessment and email that to your teacher or catechist, and then activities as well. But let's look for now at the home instruction. I did mention the teaching guide, and in the situation that we're in right now, you are asked to teach the lessons at home, and you're giving access to the teaching guides, the regular teaching guides. If you have more than one child, how am I going to do this with 2 or 3 children at different levels? I don't have the time to do this, one after the other. You can teach all at the same time. What's great about the Gospel Weeklies is that it does cover the Gospel for Sunday. So especially in many of our cases, we can't go to church right now. You are learning about the Gospel for this Sunday as a family. And every level covers the Gospel, the same Gospel. So no matter what age your child is, you can together learn about the Gospel, and they can be working on the material at their own level. So here in this pacing plan, you can look at pacing plan for home instructions for 2 or more children. In this case, I'm going to open that up. And you see here, this is a suggested pacing plan if you have more than one child learning at the same time. It's not lesson specific, it just gives you a little overview, but I can summarize it fairly easily for you. What you can do is have everybody working on their own level with their own lessons. And so the activities they can do independently, you could work with the younger children while the older children are working on the activities on their own. When it comes time for the Gospel, Good News, Venture, and Visions has Gospel in a role play format in the lessons themselves. So you can have the older children read the Gospel to the younger children. And then they can, again, independently finish the activities themselves. And you can talk to the older children about the discussion questions and have that shape the discussion with the other children as well. There really isn't a wrong way to do this. If you're teaching them and reviewing the Gospel, they're doing the activities, and you pray, you can't go wrong. Every lesson ends with a family corner, which has a prayer and an activity to do together, a question to do together. So you can just do that as well at the end. If you want to just see the same pacing plan to teach at home for one child, it's a very similar pacing plan, and it's kind of like what I just explained earlier about using that 60-minute lesson plan in the teaching guide. Just gives you a simple way to teach the lesson. For those who want to dig deeper into this, one more thing to do. You can also open the weekly videos, and 2 weeks at a time, we load videos that correspond to the themes of the lessons. So again, for March 22nd, we have videos that present the Gospel, and then each level often has a video that corresponds to the lesson itself. So you just could scroll down and the children can watch these videos with you or on their own, as well as at the top here, this part here is a link to the webinars that our editors have done for each unit. And I have it open on this page already here. if you wanted to preview the material ahead of time in a little deeper way, more deeper way than what I did here, you can click on the level that you're teaching, both in English or Spanish, and the editors go through the lessons for this unit. They give you a little bit of background, some teaching tips. That, again, is something that would help you to teach the lesson. But it's not something that is really needed. That's just if you want that extra help. And again, there are parishes or schools that are asking you to take the assessment at home, so the students so that you know that the students have taken have learned the lesson. And you could find these assessments by going to the browse button up top and scrolling down to online assessments. You choose English or Spanish, and then this is the page. And many of you have been using this throughout the year anyway. And you just click on the level and then the test that you're taking. You enter the catechist or teacher's email address or your religion program's email address, and when you finish, or when the students finish the assessment, it is emailed to them. So if any of this is confusing, you're nervous about doing it, teaching, again, just please email me, editor@pflaum.com, and I'm happy to help you at any time. And we are praying for you, and please pray for us too during this very difficult time. But again, I hope it's a fruitful time for you to spend time with your children to learn about the faith. God bless you.